Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. What have I missed in the last couple of days? Well, I've missed quite a lot. Ronaldo might be going to Manchester City. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but we're going to be talking about Saul Niguez, Camavinga, Ruben Neves. What's going on? Are United going to buy a midfielder? And is that going to lead to Manchester United removing Donny van de Beek from the club? I've not been on since Sunday night and the breakdown of what went wrong against Southampton. And in that time, quite a lot has happened. But there's a week left of the transfer window. It closes a week today. And are Manchester United about to make a very big move in the transfer market? Well, they're in talks. They're in talks with Camavinga. They're in talks with Saul Niguez. And there's confusion and uncertainty about what they want to do with Donny van de Beek. Because they need to sell a player. And they don't want to sell Dan James. They don't want to sell Jesse Lingard at the moment. They're looking at somebody else. And we'll be talking about that and what's going on at the moment with Saul Niguez. But first of all, I just want to draw your attention to something. We are sponsored by Ultimate Fan today. And if I can get it up. Oh, I can get it up. There you go. Link is in the video description for this. Many of you have already downloaded it and played it. It's an Ultimate Fan Fantasy League app. Ultimate Fan is fantasy football with a twist. Imagine fantasy football combined with super cool pack openings. The game is super simple to play. All you have to do is be over 18 and download the app totally for free using the link in the description. Follow the super simple sign-up system, easier to say than do, and then you will be able to start opening packs and filling in your team for this coming weekend. This is for the weekend fixtures that are coming up, obviously, in the Premier League. There's also Ultimate Fan Plus for you to explore. This feature is paid for gold and silver packs where you can receive extra cards, exclusive content, and also a free crate of beer from Beer 52. Each week, there are prizes available for the teams that perform the best, and this week, the prize pool is 8,500. So I've already opened my packs for this week, and through the base pack and gold packs, I've added Watkins, Jamie Vardy, Lanzini, Danny Rose, Keenan Davis, and Ismail Sarr to my squad. None of that really helps with my lack of quality midfielders, though, a bit like Manchester United. However, fingers crossed, next week I get a decent midfielder in the packs I get. I'm also going to move my captain from Rudiger to Antonio, as he's been on good form recently and has racked up an average of 26 points per game. I'll keep Calvert-Lewin as my golden boot, as he is always doing pretty well. If you want to take part in this awesome week's game, then hit the link in the description and you can start playing Ultimate Fan today. Thanks again to Ultimate Fan for supporting the United Stand, and now on with the rest of the show. And as I say, just before I come back on screen, it's sort of like a five-a-side game where you get open packs and you do get your points, and you can win prizes. Links in the video description. Must be over 18 to play. I'm not back on the screen. I'm back on the screen now, and I'm back on the United Stand. It feels so long since I've been talking to you people, and I feel good to be back. I was in London, as many of you will have seen on my Instagram at GoldbridgeMark, but it's good to be back, and it's absolutely busy time for Manchester United at the moment. I don't know whether it means we're going to sign anybody, and actually I'm going to probably come at this with the positive first and how I actually feel second, because I'll warn you, Chelsea have got Lukaku, they're going to get Koundé, and they're looking to buy another midfielder, even whether they get Saul Niguez or not. United, to me, have bought two players that were going to sell shirts for TeamViewer. Nothing against Varane and Sancho, I love both signings, but we've been after a centre-back for years. You know, pretty much since Maguire walked in the door, we needed another centre-back to play with him. And in relation to the winger, we've been looking at a winger for 2 or 3 years as well. And this is what United do. I feel they could serve up beans on toast, and some of our fans, maybe myself included, would be convinced it was steak and chips if they told us. Because they seem to be able to do anything they want. They're leeches on this football club, and they get away with it all the time. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't get away with it, but they bloody well do. We need a midfielder at this club. They've not delivered it. And I'll keep saying it. People were outside the ground, on the pitch, had them on the rear. You know, they were on the rear. They were terrified. They've bought two very good players. They've ignored the midfield. They've sold shirts for the new team sponsor. They're happy. The sponsors are happy. And I suppose the fans are happy. And I'm like, this is how easy is it for them? They're never going to go. They're never going to sell up, because they can turn a horrific situation. They tried to take us in a bloody Super League and turn the back on the European Cup. Our European Cup. 58, 68, 2008, 99 as well, the most important one. But what I'm trying to say is that the European Cup is massive to Manchester United and they tried to take us out of it. And yet here they are a few months later. No, we might buy a midfielder, we might not. Now, if they bring a midfielder in of quality, then look, you've got to say it's been a good transfer window. But the season's already started. We've already dropped points against Southampton. This to me, again, is just what every other year is with Manchester United. Like, end of the window, are we going to do something? And look, to be honest with you, I wouldn't get excited about Saul Niguez, Camavinga or anything else. Because what have we ended up with at the end of the transfer windows? We've ended up with people like a Garlo or nothing. So I just think, again, I don't think this transfer window is as good as some people want to think it is. I think it's a shambles, to be honest. I do. I think Varane and Sancho are signings that they've done to sell shirts. I don't think they've... As a football club, you'd buy a midfielder. I'm sure Solskjaer wants a midfielder and they haven't got him one. And this to me is why Manchester United will never win a title, because we don't act like a football club. They'll go and buy players that will appease fans enough to buy shirts. And that's basically, I think, what's happened this summer. We needed to buy a midfielder and we haven't done it. It would be the most Ollie thing ever to sell Van der Beek and Sol and still play McFred and Dan James. I despair of this, says Brad Lewis. Is the Ronaldo to City rumours true, says YUFC? I'm going to talk about that in a bit, which again feeds into the Glazers, because what I would say about Ronaldo, whether he goes to Real Madrid, Man City, PSG or anywhere else, if we were run like a football club, he's left Real Madrid to go to Juventus. He's now leaving Juventus to go somewhere else. That's two opportunities for the Glazers to bring Manchester United legend Cristiano Ronaldo back to the club. And they've gone, what? Ronaldo's available? What? He's available. What? Oh, he's at Juventus now. If Ronaldo did go to Man City, it would be a disgrace on this football club, because we should be, I'm sure Ronaldo would pick up the phone and go, I'd like to come to United, but do you want me? Because if you don't, I'm going to go to City. I mean, this probably isn't going to happen, but you know what I mean? The club should be bringing him back. They should have brought him back before, but they don't do it because it's too expensive for the Glazers. It's too expensive for the Glazers to do that, because we're not a football club, we're a business. Look at Chelsea, got rid of about 6 players, looking like Chelsea will have a better summer than us, like you said. Sancho was last summer, says Philip Burtonwood. Mark, heavily off topic, but I lost my pet yesterday as others scared him away. Tomorrow I'm going to travel around in the hope of finding him. Wish me luck. And good luck finding your pet there. That's we do wish you good luck with that. But look, what I want to say is wages, Mark. I don't care about his bloody wages. I get frustrated with this. Let's talk about Saul Niguez. People are saying Man United shouldn't go for Ronaldo because of his wages. Are you the boss of Manchester United then? Are you the accountant of Manchester United? Is that what the Glazers have done now? They've turned Manchester United fans into bloody accountants. We're Manchester United. We're a football club. Do you think Chelsea fans go, don't get Lukaku? Don't spend 100 million on Lukaku. He's not worth that. Don't give him them wages. Don't buy Koundé. We don't need another good centre-back. Don't go and try and get Saul Niguez. He's very expensive, and we've already got Kante and Kovacic and Jorginho. We don't need anybody else. Stop spending money. Football fans don't do that. The only football fans that do that are Manchester United and Arsenal, because we've been bred to be accountants, because we're run by bloody accountants. It's as simple as that. But look, we're wandering off topic. What I want to talk about is Saul Niguez. Saul Niguez transfer is imminent. That is the bottom line. So this is where we're at the moment. So Saul Niguez has been in talk with Chelsea for the last few days about a loan to buy option. And the chances are he'll probably end up at Chelsea. But Manchester United have been in talks as well. There's no official bid from Manchester United, but there is an offer on the table from Chelsea. This is what Fabrizio Romano has said in the last couple of hours. So there is an official bid from Chelsea for Saul Niguez on a loan to buy option. Manchester United have not made any official bid yet, but they are in talks. So Saul Niguez to Manchester United, is this on the face of it a good deal? And what I'd add to that is Fabrizio Romano has said that Manchester United have 3 options in the midfield. Their number 1 option is Camavinga, their number 2 option is Saul Niguez, and their number 3 option is Ruben Neves. No Basuma, but what do we know? But there are 3 options there for Manchester United. So we'll be going through this, but I suppose first of all, let's talk about Saul Niguez, because he is going to move. He is going to be moving in the next week, and it will be Chelsea, United or another club, but he's up for grabs, and he's so up for grabs that Atletico Madrid are willing to let him go on loan, which I find quite surprising, because I would have thought they'd want the money, but I don't think anybody wants to spend the money on Saul Niguez because of the season he had last year. Where do I sit on Saul Niguez? I sit on... Sean Turner says, the only way we get a midfielder is if we sell Jesse or Van der Beek. By then, Saul will be at Chelsea. All I want is Donny playing as a 6 over Fred, says Sean Turner. The Glazers will never leave, says DK, so Ollie needs to demand more. Have a feeling he likes McFred. Maybe a Tuchel-like takeover would be great. And also, heavily off topic, I'm about to talk to my girlfriend before we split up or get back together. Wish me luck. Love you all, says NYKK. And Mark off topic, Madrid just submitted 160 million bid from Mbappe, just breaking all over, says Cheyenne. Well, what is it with off topic? Like, I want to talk about Manchester United. I've not been here for 2 days. Why are people telling me stuff about Real Madrid? I couldn't give a shit about Real Madrid. I'm talking about Manchester United. So, look, in relation to Saul Niguez, let me just say this. Saul Niguez to Manchester United 2 years ago, I would have been, what a summer. Imagine Saul Niguez was what he was like 2 years ago, and we've just bought Varane and Sancho. Niguez, Varane, Sancho. I would say, you know what? I don't like the Glazers. I think they're useless. I think they're useless, but actually, they are very good signings. And Pratik says, can you encourage fans who are going for the next match by taking supporter post off of Van der Beek or the chance? Mate, our fans will sing about Solskjaer and have a great day out. And we've got some of the best away fans in the world. They're not going to listen to me. They're not going to listen to you. They're not going to start chanting about Van der Beek. So, you know, you need to actually educate yourself in the way our away support works, because they're not going to do that sort of thing anyway. I will be gutted if Donny leaves the club. If Lingard, Matic, Fred stay, they will be on Ollie. I'm getting tired of his player selection process, says Nelardri. And hi Mark, I'm losing faith in Ollie. His team selections are very poor. Seems like he and his coaching staff have zero logic. Okay, Juan, thank you very much. I don't know why we're talking about Ollie. Can we just talk about this Saul Niguez transfer and the 3 options that we've got and midfielders? Because this is where I get pissed off topic or not. I will tell you this now. I get pissed off when people start talking to me about Ollie and tactics when we're talking about the Glazers, the last week of the window and the lack of a midfielder. This is what we should be focused on. Because people... remember what I've said to you before. There are 2 very definitive balls or sides to this story. There's the Glazers, the board, and the shit way they work in the transfer window. And then there's Ollie and the team. And too many people want to merge them together. And the reality is, we've got a week left in the transfer window. We wanted a midfielder, and it's the board and the Glazers that provide that. What Ollie does on the pitch, like he did on Sunday against Southampton, and what he does on Sunday against Wolves, is where you talk about that. We're talking about this. We're talking about the board. We're talking about the Glazers. We're talking about Murta and Fletcher and a director of football, which was not a director of football because it was somebody in-house moved into a position to make it out that we had a director of football. The reality is, these people in this football club are all puppets to the people that have been running this club for the last 10 years. Murta as a director of football, he's so impressive in the meetings, but he doesn't actually pick the players and he doesn't negotiate the deals. What does he do then? What does he do? Because he's been at that club for years. I don't think he does anything different from what he's been doing for years. I don't think this summer transfer window is any different to any other window, apart from the fact that we've bought Sancho and Varane, who are very good signings, but where's the midfielder and where's the outgoings? And the bottom line is, doesn't matter where you want to hear this from, United need to sell to buy. So we're sat here knowing that we like Camavinga, we like Saul Niguez, we like Ruben Neves, but we can't buy any of them because we haven't sold anybody. And I don't know why our fan base can't get this into their heads that we're not buying a midfielder because our board is crap again and hasn't sold somebody. We've got something like 30 senior pros at our football club. 30. Half of them aren't good enough. This has been proven over the last 3 or 4 years. But we can't sell any of them to bring players in. You know what? It's like looking in your socks drawer, right? And all you've got is odd socks. And there's a sale on. There's a sale online. You can get designer Ralph Lauren socks for £5. 3 pairs. Real deal. What a deal. But you can't buy them until you clear your sock drawer out. But you can't clear your sock drawer out. No matter how easy it is to do it, you can't do it. United cannot get rid of the deadwood, and therefore we can't buy the midfield. And whose fault's that? The board. Because they've bought this deadwood, given this contracts to New Deadwood. We've turned down offers this summer. In the last week alone, and this won't all be true, but in the last week alone, we've heard that United have rejected a deal for Jesse Lingard, that there's been interest in Dan James, that there's been interest in Donny van der Beek. I'm not saying we should sell those players, but what I'm saying is there has been options. We can't even sell Pereira. We're paying him to go on holiday to Brazil for a year. Like, we are absolutely terrible at selling players. So don't tell me that this summer is a success because of Sancho and Varane. They are very, very, very good signings, but the summer's not about buying 2 shiny toys when you needed a lot more. And when it comes to Saul Niguez, what I would say is that I think United's attraction to Saul Niguez is the fact that he's free. Because I spoke to a lot of people today and I've read a lot of things today, and a lot of people have said, I'd rather have Bissouma than Saul Niguez, I'd rather have Ruben Neves than Saul Niguez, and Camavinga or Saul Niguez. The only reason I'd take Saul Niguez over Camavinga is because Ollie would have to pick him now because he's 26, whereas an 18-year-old, it would be easy for Ollie to stick him on the bench and still play McTominay and Fred. Which I do actually agree. If you bring Saul Niguez in, but then again, if you bring Saul Niguez in on loan, is it not easy to put him on the bench anyway? Because he's not paid for him. It's like, well, he's on the bench. I think United are in for Saul Niguez because they've always quite liked him and he's available on a loan to buy. You don't have to pay any money. So I think United are looking at that. But even the loan of Saul Niguez, they've got to try and get rid of somebody. And United at this moment in time, there are people saying we won't buy any midfielder in the next week because we can't get rid of anybody. There are other people who are a little bit more positive, saying United are in talks with Camavinga's representatives. They are in talks with Saul Niguez's representatives, and Ruben Neves is a potential fallback option. But they've got to remove somebody, and they can't do it. Surely United would profit from signing United. He'd come in for free. I don't know, that doesn't make sense. 17-7, sorry. Who cares if we buy Sal? He's not better than Donny, and Ollie won't use either over McFred, says Hubert. Let me talk to you about Sal Niguez. From what I've seen, Niguez likes to get forward and is more box-to-box. I honestly think Bissouma would be absolutely perfect. You and me both, Lee McDermott. And Sean Turner says, let's play devil's advocate. If you owned United and Ollie asks you for a new midfielder after spending 40 million on Donny, who don't play, what would you say to Ollie, says Sean Turner. You know what? If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said to me, I need a number 6, I'd buy him one. I wouldn't say anything about Van der Beek because Van der Beek was Grealish. That was what Ollie wanted. He wanted Grealish and we got Van der Beek. It was an attacking midfield position. Box to box, attacking midfielder, whatever you say. We need a holding midfielder. We need a number 6. Donny was never brought in as a number 6, Sean, so I would get him that. Chelsea have raised £130 million in player sales, says Football Skills. I've said this before, though. Solanke, Obi, Harry Wilson. Liverpool sell good. Chelsea sell good. We can't sell. We can't sell. We're terrible. Lingard won't want to leave United if he doesn't get blamed. Won't want to leave. Being at United will help his personal brand, which will bring him dollars, says Patrick. Look, I'm not going to go in on Jesse. I'm not going to go in on Dan James. They've got every right to stay at the club. But it's like somebody said on this show. Ian King says, I've got no faith in the board. I think this is the problem. Nobody wants to make big decisions at that football club. Somebody said to me the other day, you say that Ollie was ruthless with Fellaini and Lukaku. I don't think he was ruthless with Lukaku. I think Lukaku said he wanted to go. Sanchez said he wanted to go. So Fellaini's probably one of the only ones he's been ruthless with. But, it goes above Ollie anyway. I just think that, I've got no problem with any player wanting to stay at United, whether it's Luke Shaw, Jesse Lingard, Dan James, or, Cavani, whatever. Ultimately, it's not their choice. This is Manchester United. It's not a charity. If we decide we've got too many attackers, you sell a couple of attackers. I don't understand how Manchester United are so short in the midfield, and yet we've got about 10 people who can only play in 3 positions in the attack. And obviously Lingard, James, Mata, these people are all part of that. Why does everyone go on about Dan James and Jesse Lingard when actually probably both should be sold and Mata should have been let go? We've kept Mata here. That was one player we could have let go. Everyone's saying, Jesse should go to West Ham and Dan James should go to Brighton. Well, Mata was kept at this football. Whatever. We need to remove players from the squad. We kept Mata at the squad. I don't even know when we're going to use him this year. So it's more than individuals. I think in the last week of the window, it's probably got to be Lingard because he's the only good player that we've got that we don't need that somebody would buy. But West Ham are just about to buy Zuma for 30 million. My mind is blown. They're going to pay Chelsea 25 million or 30 million for Zuma, right? But United, they wouldn't give us 25. Lingard's better than Zuma, and he's better for West Ham than Zuma. Like they need a Lingard, but we can't sell it. I just don't know why we're so bad at selling players. I really don't. Do you think either of Sal, Camavinga or Neves make us title challengers? Where do you play Pogba when Rashi's back? Says Cecil. Let me talk about Sal Niguez because look, the transfer is imminent. It doesn't mean it's coming to Manchester United, but the transfer is imminent with Sal Niguez. Now, United are in talks. As I said, Chelsea have made the bid. United haven't made an official bid. United, I was speaking to somebody before I came on air, and they said the situation could be this. United want Camavinga, but they don't get Camavinga. And by the time they find out they can't get Camavinga, Saul Niguez has already said yes to Chelsea, which means you don't get Camavinga and you don't get Saul Niguez. Because if you listen to Romano, Camavinga's number 1 choice, Saul Niguez is number 2 choice. So if you go for Camavinga and you don't get him, by the time you figure that out, Saul Niguez has probably already gone to Chelsea, so you've lost 1 and 2. Which is when people then say, well, let's get Ruben Neves, which I sort of understand. But the trouble is, Ruben Neves will cost about 35 to 40 million pounds, which I don't think United have got or want to spend. So you end up with nothing. You end up like last season. You end up with Groundhog Day, where you're forever chasing your tail because we're too slow. What did I say? The centre-back should have happened last summer. The right winger should have happened last summer. They're happening now. The midfielder needs to happen now. Well, all that's going to happen is if we don't get a midfielder, we're like last year. We've got an excuse. Well, we didn't buy a midfielder. They do it every year. They do it every year to save money, and it provides an excuse to Solskjaer and the fans to go, well, this is why, this is why. I'm fed up of excuses at Manchester United, by the way, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But in relation to Saul Niguez, if Manchester United were to buy Saul Niguez, would you be happy with that deal? And this, for me, is the big head scratcher, because I don't know. I don't know. There was a time when I would have been over the moon with Saul Niguez. There was a time when we were being linked to Saul Niguez in an £80 million deal. Over the last 5 years, that's happened a few times. He's only 26, so you think, well, look, if I wanted him 3 years ago, and I wanted him 4 years ago, and I wanted him 2 years ago, why don't I want him now just after one bad year? And the thing for me is twofold. One, I'm a little bit worried that there might be some underlying issue with Saul Niguez. But two, the biggest thing for me is he what we need? Is he what we need? Or is he a Donny van de Beek replacement? Well, there should be no Donny van de Beek replacement because Donny van de Beek's not been bloody given a chance. I will not accept Donny van de Beek being kicked out of this fucking football club. And I'm sorry to swear, but I will not. Every time I've seen him, I've seen better things than some people that play a lot of games. I know United have had players that I've liked in the past that clearly were a bit shit and didn't perform. Like Kagawa was one. I liked the idea of Kagawa, it didn't work. I liked the idea of Mkhitaryan, it didn't work. And to be fair, when they played, it didn't work. Donny is not Mkhitaryan and Donny is not Kagawa. When I've seen Donny play, I've seen the things that I think United need. Like I watched Sancho at the weekend and, he's giving it and going. And, Lingard and McTominay aren't making the runs for him. Wan-Bissaka's not understanding the 1-2 with him. And I'm like, we've got a player in Donny van de Beek that understands first touch football. Him on the right side as a box-to-box, which is where we want him to play, with Sancho and Bruno. Oh my God, that could be so good. He's got the attributes. So I don't want Saul Niguez to come into this club so we can sell Donny van de Beek, is my point. And my problem with Saul Niguez is that if you followed him enough, he's basically a number 8. He's basically a number 8. He's more of a box-to-box player. Now, there is a positive, and but I don't know why United want a number 8, because some people would say Camavinga's a number 8, and some people would say Ruben Neves is not a number 8. They're different. We're talking about Saul Niguez. For me, at 26, it wouldn't surprise me if Saul Niguez is going to become a holding midfielder, because the older you get, the more midfielders do stop running around as much. But that's not a guarantee. He's not a natural 6. He can play as a 6. I think he can evolve into a 6, but he's not a natural 6. So for me, am I excited about Saul Niguez just because he's a good player? But is he what we need? And that's why, for me, I wish we'd gone for someone like a Basuma. There's no doubt that Saul Niguez could do that job. And what you've got to remember is maybe United aren't going to play with one holding midfielder. Maybe they're going to play with 2 number 8s. Maybe they want to play Saul Niguez and Fred. Maybe they want to play Saul Niguez and McTominay. But the problem we've got is, if you want to play Pogba in the midfield, and I still think Pogba in the midfield is a major asset to Manchester United. Off that left-hand side, I don't think he's in the game as much as he is when he's in the midfield. But you cannot play Pogba, and I would argue you probably can't play Donny van de Beek unless you're playing them with Matic, because he's the only holding midfielder we've got. So if you buy Saul Niguez, we're not going to see Saul Niguez and Van de Beek, and we're not going to see Saul Niguez and Pogba. And that, to me, is probably why the Saul Niguez thing worries me a little bit, because I want a holding midfielder. And it's hard to see how that would work. But then I think, well, Varane and Maguire Do you need a number 6? Or could you have Varane and Maguire with two 8s in front of them? I don't know. No point in buying a midfielder. Ollie will play McFred and Matic, says Sid T. I saw that clip on Twitter of Donny against Chelsea. I'm sorry I watched him for Ajax. He can't play in that Fred role. Why can't Ollie see it? Says Sean Turner. And will United go for Rice next summer and Haaland in January because Chelsea won't go for another centre midfield if they get Saul? Well, Troy, why won't they go for him? They're going to get him on a loan to buy. What if Chelsea get Saul Niguez and he doesn't do very well? They send him back to Atletico Madrid and then next summer they buy Declan Rice. It's a win-win. What if they get Saul Niguez, he's brilliant, and they don't need Declan Rice? But at the end of the day, this is what annoys me about United. Just before I talk about Camavinga and a bit more about Saul. This is what annoys me about United. We always seem to have an excuse. And it goes back to the Glazers again. There's always a bloody excuse. So if we don't get Saul Niguez and he goes to Chelsea, some people in our fan base will go, we've got a clear run at Declan Rice next summer. Are you thick? Why have we got a clear run at Declan Rice? Saul Niguez has gone to Chelsea on loan. If he fails, they'll send him back and buy Rice. But why are we in the queue anyway? Why are we like, oh, Chelsea have got what they want. Let's wait a year and get Declan Rice. It just always seems to me like we're waiting for something. We're waiting a year. We didn't do this. We didn't do that. Why are Manchester United behind Chelsea now, by the way? I've said this like numerous times this summer. Why are we now behind Chelsea? And I'm not talking about the league because it's only the second game, but we finished above Chelsea last year. They've bought better than us. Why are we behind Chelsea? And it's not, actually hypothetically, they haven't bought better than us because they haven't bought anybody other than Lukaku really, have they yet? But they will do in the next week, of course. But it's almost like the excuses come in. And I don't understand it. You get it from pundits, you get it from fans, you get it from ex-players, you get it from the media. There's always an excuse for United. We've spent 400 million quid under Ollie. We should be doing better. And we should be doing better from the board, but we should also be, the two things, the board and this. We shouldn't be I predicted we'd finish third this year, and I thought, because I genuinely think that's where we'll end up. But actually, why should we be dropping down from second to third? Because basically we've become accustomed to the fact that the Glazers will not deliver what we need. We've spent £400 million, and people will say, well, you're being a hypocrite there. You're saying on one hand we've got the money, but then you need more. We've spent £400 million. We're very close to being where we need to be. And I don't think we should be accepting dropping to third from second. We should be getting second with what we've got. But we should be challenging for a bloody title if they just get us that midfielder, and they haven't done that. And it does annoy me because I do just think that, I read a lot and I do pick it up a lot that in our fan base, there are people who are always talking about, it's a process. We're doing our best, and it's going to take time. And if you don't like it, fuck off and support somebody else. And I'm like, well, you can't. You actually can't say that to people anyway. Well, you can, but you come across as a bit naive because people who are Ollie out, I don't agree with that. But people who are like, you look at that weekend game. He's put Sancho and Varane on the bench. 2 new signings for the summer, and then Tuchel starts Lukaku, and they smash Chelsea. And they did smash Chelsea. They were playing in third gear in the second half. And I'm like, there are too many excuses around this football club. I think for me, and I can only speak for me, we're a midfielder away. We're a holding midfielder away from a team that should be challenging for the title. I look at that United side and I think it should be challenging for a title. It's only a holding midfielder away. So why do we have all these excuses all the time? Why is it always excuses with United? Why do the Glazers never quite go as far as they need to be? We are one player away from basically being a title-winning side or having to change the coach. And it pisses me off that we are so close to that situation. Because if we had a holding midfielder, I would say Solskjaer's got no excuse. He's got to go out with that squad and win a title. And if he doesn't do it or he's miles off, then change him because somebody else will do that job. Because I actually think the way to look at it is, if you gave Manchester United to Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp or Thomas Tuchel, if you give them that squad, would you expect them to win the league? Now, if you'd said to me a year ago, I'd have said, no, there's no right winger, there's no holding midfielder, and there's no centre back. But there's Varane and Sancho there now. I think if you give Pep Guardiola, Klopp, or Tuchel a team that's got David De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Maguire, Shaw, it's got Pogba, Bruno, Sancho, Cavani, and then it's got either Van der Beek or you can move Pogba in with a holding midfielder, that's when I'd say Pep would win the league with that team. You'd expect Tuchel to go close as well and Klopp to go close as well. We're one holding midfielder away from me being able to say, and I've said for years, like people would say, well, Pep could do better, and I'd go, I don't think he can. I actually think we're 3 or 4 players away from Pep being able to do anything. I think we're 1 player away now from Pep being able to win the title with that side. I think we're 1 player, and arguably, not definitely, arguably winning the title with that side. We're 1 player away. And that's the sad thing about this summer transfer window for me, is that we're hearing that United need to sell to buy. Well, we've sold nobody. That's a failure. And if we got that 1 holding midfielder, and that could be Basuma, it could be Zakari. I'm not saying who it is, but we are 1 holding midfielder away from a team that I think can win a title. Now, I don't know whether Solskjaer can win the title, because I look at it, like I said, if you bring a top manager in, would you expect them to win the title with the squad you've got? And I'm telling you, in my opinion, Pep, Klopp, Tuchel, you give them that United squad with a good holding midfielder, and I think they are capable of winning the league. That's how good I think this United squad is. But unfortunately, there's a massive bloody hole in the middle. And that is why we will go into this season without a holding midfielder, and there will be a lot of fans, probably myself included, going, we were never going to win the league without a holding midfielder. So Solskjaer's got his excuse already. And it's not Ollie's fault. I'm sure he wants a holding midfielder. He doesn't want another season of some fans being on his back, some people being sympathetic. He wants, I guarantee you, Solskjaer wants to have a go. So I don't know about Saul Niguez. I don't know whether we'll get him. It feels like United are involved. It feels like we're involved for Camavinga. We're in talks with Camavinga. We've been in talks with Camavinga and his agents for a long time, and apparently Camavinga's agent is the same agent as Saul Niguez. I think it's Jonathan Bartnett. But the reality is, we could end up with nothing. You know, realistically, I think 33.3% we end up with nothing. 33.3% we end up with Camavinga. 33.3% equals Saul Niguez, and that all adds up to 100%. So, you know, I don't know which way it's going to go at the moment, but to end up with nothing would be very frustrating, wouldn't it? Hi Mark, Champions League draw Thursday. We will get Lille or Sporting, Malmo and Sheriff. Don't want Bayern, AC Milan and Ajax, says Victor Lang. I forgot about that. What time's that at? I don't understand why not United not to take advantage. That is a buyer's market right now. You will get midfielders cheaper this summer than next summer, says Per Eric Klassen. Do we have any confidence that Ollie will use Sal in the correct way, or will he just be a quality bench warmer, says Ren H. Well, look, I suppose the dangerous thing here is, and the not so nice situation here is, and the situation that makes, it's at 5 p.m. on Thursday, the Champions League draw. Thank you very much. The thing that concerns me a little bit about the Saul Niguez thing is that if we don't get him and he goes to Chelsea, it's a bit of an L, isn't it? A lot of people have admitted today that United are in talks about Saul Niguez. They're interested. So if he goes to Chelsea, it's a big L, isn't it? And what annoys me is that Chelsea have got 4 players. I wish we had 1. Like, well, taking into account that Saul Niguez is the player that we're talking about. So that Saul Niguez would be 1 that we would like. Jorginho, I would love at United. Kovacic, I would love at United. And obviously Kante. So they're going to have 4 players that we'd like just 1 of. We've got no player as good as those 4 who can play where they play. So that, to me, it is a massive, massive issue. Of course it is. We are interested in Camavinga. We have been in talks with Camavinga. I suppose the problem with Camavinga is he's 18, and would Ollie love him? Would Ollie use him? I don't know that he would start Camavinga ahead of a Fred or a McTominay. I don't know. So I suppose that's... is Camavinga more of a signing for the future? I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see, because apparently we won't buy anybody until we sell somebody. And at the moment, like, we're a week away. The transfer window closes in a week. How are you going to sell somebody in a week? I just don't know. It could be Donny van der Beek. I don't think we'll sell Donny van der Beek in the next week, but there were offers for Donny van der Beek. Thanks for the super chat, Mohammed. Please subscribe, by the way, bottom right hand corner. Subscribe, get involved in the United Stand. We're live every morning at 10 a.m, every night at 8 o'clock with shows in between and watch alongs, etc. So get involved with the community. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and smash a like, of course. It's good to be back, and you know, I've been looking forward to this show for a while because there's a lot of things I wanted to talk about. Donny van der Beek is a player that Manchester United have had offers for this summer, but there has been some determination from van der Beek to, prove Ollie right and wrong, and get into the team. But United are apparently, I think, look, I think the only reason Donny van der Beek's still at this club is because he didn't hand in a transfer request. You know, reading between the lines and talking to a couple of people, United all summer, Van der Beek has been linked with a move through various English outlets. And I always get quite sceptical of that because I think, why do we keep hearing about Van der Beek leaving United? And it felt to me that maybe United were putting the feelers out. And I think if Van der Beek had come back and said he wanted to go, I think United, it would have been easy for United to just say, well, it didn't work out, get rid of him. I think the only reason that Van der Beek's still here is because he wants to be here. And I think that's borne out by the start to this season. You know, we thought Van der Beek in pre-season looked like he was going to get a chance. But that's just because Pereira had a chance. He was shit, but he had a chance. Donny played well, but that didn't mean anything because he's not played a minute in the first 2 games. I think the situation at United, and I might be completely wrong about this, but the situation at United looks very, very clear to me that the only reason Donny, and we're talking about Donny, is because he wants to be here and we want him to play. I don't think anything's changed from last year. I don't think Ollie wants to use him. I think Ollie would probably sell him. And, you know, I might be miles off, and I hope I'm miles off, but the evidence suggests that this is a player that didn't get 1 minute in a game where we couldn't get hold of the midfield and get the tempo right, and he's a tempo player. I think Ollie would sell him tomorrow if he could. I think the only reason Donny's still here is because he wants to be here, and he's trying to prove the manager wrong, but the manager just doesn't want to give him any game time. So, do I think Donny van der Beek will go in the next week? No. Do I think he'll go in the next year? Probably, because there's going to have to be a massive change in Ollie, who doesn't seem to want to use Donny van der Beek, unfortunately. We'd buy Camavinga just to loan him out, says Hubert. Bayern turned right back Kimmich into world-class DM. Wan-Bissaka as a DM. Joshua, thanks for the super chat. I really appreciate it, but I'm not going to waste minutes tonight talking about things like that. I think if you think Wan-Bissaka is a centre defensive midfielder, then you really need to have a look at how football is played. Ollie ain't no Guardiola and will never be good enough, says Tala. Look, I'm going to forget if I don't just bring this in. It won't take me very long. There is a story from L'Equipe tonight, or L'Equipe, however you pronounce it in France, that Ronaldo has been trying to engineer a move to Manchester City. There's plenty of things you could say about that. Some of you will be old enough like me to remember what Ronaldo was at United. He is a United legend. There are some people who say that Ronaldo's not a legend because he left us for Real Madrid and he wasn't here that long. What he did in the time, it's not how long you're here, it's what you do with your time here. Ronaldo, I mean, look, for me, Van Persie is a really odd one because I don't think you can call him a legend, but he's definitely a United great because that year he basically did win us the title. He was unbelievable. He loved it under Sir Alex. Sir Alex Ferguson retired and he basically only played 1 year for us. Ronaldo is a legend. He was the best player in the world when he was at United for 2 years. He's a United legend. Now, I've read some of the stuff tonight about this Man City stuff. I don't think it will happen, and I'll tell you for why in a minute. But my mate messaged me and said, how would you feel if Ronaldo played for Man City? And I said, well, you know, it's like the love of your life, right? You're married to your love of your life, right? And you're at work and they send you a message and say, can you finish a bit early? I'm going to be in the bedroom waiting for you. You can't finish work early enough. You get the quickest Uber driver you can find. You're on your way back. You get there. You've got visions of what's going on. There's a bit of old phone texting going on, sexting, whatever you want to call. You're getting very excited. You run up the stairs. You're taking your shirt off. You run into the bathroom, into the bedroom. You might have a bathroom, a quick wee first, whatever. You go into the bedroom thinking, yes, and there's your best mate doing the business with them. You know, you instantly throw up and you're like, it's horrible. It's horrible, right? That's an analogy of what it would be like if Ronaldo went and got into bed with Manchester City. It would be horrible to view. It would be horrific. It would make me feel sick. But the truth is, I don't need an analogy. It would be like a United legend going and playing for Manchester City. I don't need to do analogies. It would be like Cristiano Ronaldo, a United legend, going to play for Man City. That's what it would be like. I don't need an analogy because that's what it would be like. Cristiano Ronaldo in a bloody Manchester City shirt. I tell you what, though, you know, what's he going to do when Sir Alex rings him up? Like, Sir Alex is like his dad, you know. Ronaldo said it himself. In the footballing world, he's like his dad. He won't do it. He won't do it because it would destroy what Manchester United and Sir Alex Ferguson did for him. And I mean, never say never in football, but I don't think Ronaldo needs the money. I don't think he needs to do that. So I don't think it will happen. But Harry Jones says, Ollie sexting Fred. Oh, God. I'm sure that doesn't happen. Member of the club, Divine Emmanuel, thank you very much. United buy an expensive player and Mark goes United are shit at negotiations and spend too much. United don't buy an expensive player and suddenly Mark thinks the Glazers are all about business and don't want to spend. Tox, your name's not Tox, is it? Your name's not Tox. Your name is Mr. Glazer. What are you talking about? Jog on and go and find someone else to wind up, because no one in our community is going to even understand what you're talking about there. Mark moans about us spending too much on players, but then when we don't buy an expensive player, suddenly Mark thinks the Glazers are all about business and don't want to spend. Mate, I don't know what's up with you. I just get help. That's what I would say, because you're talking absolute. I don't know what you're talking there, but it's drivel. It's absolute drivel. When have I ever said that the Glazers don't treat us like a business? They've treated us like a business for 16 years. We're football fans. There's no United fan respects the Glazers because they know what they are. They're all about the bottom line. They literally 2 months ago they attended a fan forum because they had to and told a load of lies. But they've not delivered. Oh, this summer we're ready to spend big. How many? We fall for it every year. We're ready to spend big this summer and sort everything out. Well, you have sort of spent big, but not to the extent that was required. Not to the extent for the damage you did with the Super League. They should have gone further. We shouldn't be sat here now going, where's our midfielder? They should have delivered the midfielder with Sancho and Varane and said sorry. That would have been a little bit of an apology, but they haven't done it. Why do United have to sell to buy? If we have to sell, then why are turning down inquiries from West Ham for Lingard? Sell Lingard and get a midfielder, says S. Ahmed. And do you think Ollie will drop one of McFred for Sol? I think Van der Beek were bought to replace Pogba, but it never got sold, and that Ollie would like to play 4-3-3. Would you be doing a day-long transfer deadline doja this summer, says Mr. I mean, depends what happens, really. It depends what happens, because in relation to the transfer deadline day, we might know by Tuesday that we're not doing any business, because Ollie might say in his press conference on Friday we're not doing any more business, because he'll be asked about it, and Ollie will kill it dead. He will kill it dead. I'm not saying he's going to kill it dead, but he will kill it dead. He won't want fans thinking we're selling players and buying players when he knows we're not. So yeah, the transfer deadline day could be shit for United. It could be exciting, but if we've got to sell to buy, we've got to sell to buy. And are we looking like we're going to sell anybody in the next few days? Not really. So I do believe that. I do believe we've got to get players out to get players in. I mean, look, this is coming from MUFC MPB, and it's from at Malikins, who's a good lad, and he says there will be no more signings at Manchester United this transfer window unless there is one major outgoing, which looks unlikely. Most of the speculation around Camavinga and Saul Niguez is agent driven, and that will be from Manchester United Football Club. That is a briefing from Manchester United Football Club. Look, I can't 100% say it is, but that is 100% the sort of thing that United put out there. They will always put that sort of stuff out. When we're linked with a player, they will say, oh, it's agent talk. It's just agent talk. And it maybe is agent talk. But, it goes back to what I said before. It's appalling, really, how this summer... And this is only my opinion. This is not... I know a lot of people have bought shirts. I know a lot of people are very happy and excited, and I'm very excited about the season, but I can't move away. I can't be a hypocrite. I can't move away from what I said in May, what I've said all summer. This transfer window for me, although I've been I applauded the Varane thing. I actually applauded it. I thought, what a deal. And Sancho coming in at last, I applauded that as well. But I've always been of the opinion that if we didn't get a midfielder in this summer, it's not a good summer. It's not a bad summer, but it's not the summer it needed to be. And look, mate, it probably is it. That's probably our business. 2 signings and no sales. It sounds horrible, doesn't it? But I almost feel like shouting at myself in the mirror, because this happens every summer. We hit May and we go, we've got to sell at least 5 and bring 5 in. And then you start to think, well, that won't happen. But 3 in, 3 out, any club should be capable of doing that. We're sat here again. Forget the quality of the players we bought. The reality is, we should have done at least 3 in, 3 out. We've done 2 in, none out. That is awful. When you bring it down to that, 2 players in, 0 players out. And what makes me laugh is that they don't want to spend money. So when they're telling us they've got to sell to buy, do you think they're really trying to sell so that they've got to buy? This is why they give contracts to Phil Jones. This is why they keep Juan Mata. This is why they keep Pereira. Because I've said this before, and I don't know whether people understand it, right? If you've got Juan Mata, right, and if you let him go, you've got to spend at least 30 million to buy a replacement. A business keeps Mata because Mata is already there doing a job. It's not about the quality of the job. He's there, he fills a role. If he goes and you get somebody better in, that better person's going to cost you money. Same with Phil Jones. You sell Phil Jones, you've got to spend 40 million to bring another centre back in. You keep Phil Jones, well, you've got 4 centre backs. He's one of them. And this is why we run like a business, because this whole sell to buy thing, I don't think we're in a rush to sell anybody, because if you sell Jesse Lingard for 20 million or 25 million and then you buy Ruben Neves for 35 million, you've just spent 10 million more than keeping Lingard. And people don't understand it because they want to think we're a football club, but we're ran by bankers. We're ran by businessmen. This is why when people go, how, I can't believe we've not sold anybody. These people are the people selling. They don't want to sell. Because when they sell, they've then got to replace. And when they replace, they've got to spend money. And the money will be more than the person they're replacing, because the person you're replacing is going to be better than the person you've got rid of. So, you know, it's an ever growing. I think some people sit there and go, how have we not sold anybody this summer? And then you go, but look who's doing the selling. It's the people who don't really want to do the buying. So they're not. Imagine if they'd sold Lingard, James, Jones, Delot, McTominay. They sold those 5 players. You've got to replace McTominay. You've got to replace Delot. You probably don't need to replace Lingard and James, to be fair, because we've got a lot of attackers. But, you know, you're probably going to spend more than those players going to replace them. Mark, back to reality against Southampton. We might have our worst team in 30 years, but you might eat humble pie at the Emirates. Odegaard will be back for that. Oh, I was saying, I'm quaking in my boots. Are we unable to sell because with those we want to sell are so much out of form and out of starting 11 that the buying club will not pay much, says Mojo? Well, no, I mean, people wanted Dan James. People want Jesse Lingard. Let's be honest, Sancho took 2 years. Varane actually wanted to join us, so it was easy and cheap. This window has been a failure, says Sean Turner. I don't think it's been a failure. I don't think it's been a failure, this window. And I think that we have got a lot to be excited about. But I think as United fans, we want to win the league. There is no doubt in my mind that we will finish comfortably in the top 4. You know, people like Zayn, you know, their rivals are Watford. Our rivals are going to be Liverpool, Chelsea and Man City. But I think they will be too good for us. And I think we'll be nestled in 3rd or 4th. What I wanted to do, and it goes back to what I was talking about 10, 15 minutes ago, I think if you put Pep Guardiola in charge of this United side, I don't think he can win the league unless you give him a holding midfielder. But that's only one player now. We're one player away from being a title challenge. And we've failed. We've failed. We've not done it. That midfield, to me, is abysmal. You know, in relation to title challenging. I think if you want to finish in the top 4, that midfield is sufficient. But if you want to win a title, I'm not afraid to name the names. Matic, Fred, McTominay, they ain't good enough to win you a title. I just don't see it. One's too old, one can't pass, and the other one, McTominay, I really haven't seen enough of him yet, but he's not a holding midfielder anyway, so I think that would be my let-off point. Our 2 holding midfielders are Fred and Matic. Matic's too old, Fred can't do it. So we haven't got a holding midfielder, have we? We haven't got a holding midfielder, and that's the big issue with United. What else was I going to talk to you about? So yeah, look, I think where we are at the moment, I don't think Ronaldo will go to City, by the way. So there you go. Sky Sports saying that Saul has been offered to Chelsea despite Manchester United being interested. Is that correct? Apologies, I've just arrived, says Ross Gunn. So yes, Romano has basically said that United's priorities in the midfield are Camavinga number 1, Saul Niguez number 2, and Ruben Neves number 3. But the reality is we can all list the priorities. The point is we'll probably get none of them because we haven't sold anybody to buy anybody, which Romano admitted all along we need to sell to buy, and everyone else is saying we need to sell to buy. United have failed to sell a player. They would buy a midfielder, but they haven't sold anybody. And to be honest with you, what that means is we'd love to buy somebody, but we can't sell anybody. Are you trying to sell anybody? Why didn't you take the offer for Lingard last week? Why didn't you sell Dan James to Leeds? You know, you don't want to sell anybody, do you? Because you don't want to buy anybody. You know, but people don't want to look into it like that because you know what? We've got Varane, we've got Sancho. The Glazers are good again. You're right, Mark, except that we are run like bad business. Eventually, the poor football decisions will catch up to the profit margins and the dividends, says Matt G. But they won't. They won't, Matt. Carl Headley, welcome to the United Stand Members Club. Yo, Mark, good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Neves, Camavinga, Sol, that's how it should be. I feel Neves will adapt easily and fast compared to others. Sid, for me, the bottom line is this. We should never, ever be coming out of this transfer window without a midfielder. There are so many midfielders we could buy. Saul Niguez, Camavinga, Ruben Neves, Bissouma. There are loads of midfielders we could have bought. To get none is appalling. To get one and get the wrong one, look, that can happen in football. But to get none of them when there's so many available is a joke. But it's not even a funny joke because this is what the Glazers do. They'll give you a little bit to make you think it's exciting, but they'll never give you everything. And we've had this for 16 years now. They will give you bits to just keep you happy enough, but they'll never give you what you need to fight for the title. And we've never, ever, ever been delivered players to win a title. And people are saying, well, you won titles under Sir Alex. We did, but I even remember pretty much since Roy Keane left in the mid-noughties. Mid-noughties was about 2006 when Keane went. We never replaced Roy Keane. We never replaced Cristiano Ronaldo. We won things because Sir Alex Ferguson was a bloody genius. Chelsea replace every manager with the best manager that's available and then back them with money. Now, yeah, Chelsea are backed by a billionaire, of course they are, and Man City are, but Manchester United are a rich club as well. But we've always been a rich club with one arm behind our back because for every Pogba signing, there's a shitload going out to the Glazers. For every Sancho signing, there'll be a shitload going out to the Glazers. And, you know, whatever you want to say about Roman Abramovich or Sheikh Mansour at Manchester City, they don't do that. They don't take money out of that club at all. It's just money, money, money because they want to win. Even Liverpool don't take money out. So that's always going to be, that's always our problem. Basically, my cynical mind says, what fucking hell, Zane? You've just put 450 quid in. Mark, if we had the Invincibles, Mbappe would have joined us. Imagine him and Henry, Howard Varane and the fridge cope. Zane, I don't know what's going on with you, but that's a ridiculous amount of money to donate as a super chat. And how would Varane and Fridge cope against Mbappe, who would have joined her if we had the Invincible? I think the amount of the super chat has just blown everybody's mind, and also as has the comments. Don't drink and spend is my motto there, Zane, because that's just silly money. A proper holding midfielder is needed. I believe it's partly because of Ollie's optimistic approach and the faith he has in the current United midfield, says Annals. No, I do think that Ollie wants to buy a midfielder. I do think Ollie wants to buy a holding midfielder, I really do, but I don't think that the club will deliver it. And I think what I was saying there about the Glazers is basically that for them, it's always about just doing enough. Like, if you think about it this summer, I bet they've made a load of money this summer. I'd love to know what the shirt sale figures are. And I don't know whether we can get hold of that. Because I guarantee we've probably sold a lot more shirts than people would even dare to think we've sold. In which case, it's a very successful summer for the Glazers, because going into the summer, it looked like it was going to be a mess. Remember there was that hashtag not a penny more? There was a lot of United fans in May who absolutely, resolutely would have said, I'm not going to buy a shirt. And they're now stood there with a shirt on, you know. And that's up to them. I'm not saying that's wrong. That's up to them. But I think the Glazers have come out of this summer absolutely brilliantly, because basically they've bought Sancho and Varane and everything's been forgotten. They haven't even got the midfielder that they were meant to get. They've even... I mean, if you'd said to me at the end of May, when people were running on the pitch and we'd had the protests, if you'd have said to me they won't buy a midfielder, I would have said, you're having a laugh. You're having an absolute laugh. Like, they will, because they've got to. If they're not going to buy what we need this summer, you can forget it next summer and the summer after. Because this is the summer where the fans had the Glazers by the balls. And they were terrified. And they've still not bothered to buy a midfielder. So it is quite surprising in that sense about that. Somebody said that they've sent me a picture of the shirt sales. I haven't had it, mate. If you've not, it's not. I don't run the United Stand either, so if you've sent it to that, I won't be able to read it. Jeremy Allen, I'm afraid. Anyway, look, I think we'll have to just wait and see what happens with Saul Niguez, with Donny van der Beek, with the midfield. But I think this afternoon when I was watching the show with like James and Beth and I was like, I was getting quite excited. But the thing with Manchester United is that the longer something goes on, the more the reality. It's like buying Pogba or buying Sancho or buying Varane. You're very excited for the first 2 weeks, and then they'll suck the life out of the deal, as they always do. And I think this afternoon I was very excited about this Saul Niguez thing, but the longer it's gone on, the more I've thought, but they've said they need to sell to buy, and we're not going to sell. And they're not going to buy, are they? And I think tonight I'm in that mind now that we're just not going to do anything, and we're going to try and do it with what we've got. We need Kante, says Tyak, and welcome to the Members Club, Ethan Cunningham. I think that, can I just say as well, bringing it back to football, because that's what we're all about. I don't know whether you watched the Wolves game against Spurs at the weekend, but if you think Wolves on Sunday is going to be easy, they had 25 shots. Wolves have been very unlucky in their first two games. Leicester 1-0 loss, Spurs 1-0 loss. They're in a bit of a false position, Wolves. They've actually been playing quite well. They just can't score goals. So I don't think Wolves is going to be a very easy game on Sunday. That could be another draw. And if we draw that, 5 points from 9, that's not a good start. We've got to win on Sunday. I think we will win on Sundays. I just wanted to say that don't start misunderstanding what they are. A bit off topic, but some speculation that Man City might go for Ronaldo. I've already spoken about it, some you deep, so I'm not going to go through it again, but I'd be gutted if Ronaldo went to Manchester City. I don't think he would, though, because Sir Alex Ferguson is like a father figure to him in football, and I just don't think he would do it. Unless Man United said go and do it, but that would be a very... very horrible way to treat your fans if you allow that to happen. And can I just say as well, if Ronaldo rang up Sir Alex Ferguson tonight and said, look, I've got to get out of Juventus, Man City are the only club that will buy me, I would love to come to Manchester United, can you get him to do a deal? And Sir Alex Ferguson rings up the Glazers and says, look, he's going to go to Man City if we don't go for him, and they go, well, we don't go for him, whose fault is it? We can't moan about where Ronaldo goes when we don't try and get him back. You can't do that. You can't, and it'll be the fans that suffer if this ever happens, which I don't think it will anyway. But you can't say to somebody, we don't want you, but you're not going there. But we're just living in hope. We should have brought him back. We can't bring him back now because we've got Cavani, we've got loads of forwards. We're so stacked in the forward position, we can't bring him back. But you're telling me we didn't know that Ronaldo was available this summer? Of course we bloody knew. Already putting news about us getting Haaland, says Troy. Well, the Haaland story is the biggest joke of the lot, because... And I think, there's fans who think we've got a clear run at Haaland. Why have we got a clear run at Haaland? Real Madrid haven't got any money, but apparently they're getting Mbappe. You think Barcelona won't find some money? You think PSG might not think we want him as well? You think that Juventus might not find some money? You think that Chelsea might not think we'll have him, or Man City, or somebody else? We've not got a clear run at Haaland. And also, if we do buy Erling Haaland, he'll only be at the club for 2.5 years. Because he's going to move every 3 years wherever he is. So, under Bruno, we're a wolf with a bite. Cracking game coming up on Sunday, says Matthew Paul. Mark, a big thank you. There's more to the videos you make than just analysis. You're becoming a household name for us United fans. God bless you, says Amors. Thanks everyone who's been watching, by the way. Mark, no offence, but Levin and the rest, are you saying... No, AJ, I think... I'm not even going to read that. Thanks very much for that. Goodbye. I just want to say that I thought that James and Beth's video was fantastic today. If you haven't watched that, I think Levin is a fantastic presenter and young and up and coming. I love his analysis of the game. I think he's brilliant. I love doing the shows with him when we've spoken a couple of times about Fred and the Regista and things like that. And it's been nice to have a couple of days off, but it's nice to be back as well. So thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe. I don't know what day it is tomorrow. It's Wednesday tomorrow, isn't it? So we'll be back in the morning. We'll see how it pans out with transfers. But I've got to be honest, I'm irritated. And I would have been irritated anyway, but I'm irritated that we haven't bothered to sort the midfield out, because I think it's going to be a problem. And look, I wish we'd beaten Southampton 4-0 at the weekend, but unfortunately we're sat here on a Tuesday night stressing about whether we're going to get a midfielder, and we've just dropped 2 points in our second game because we haven't got a midfield. It's not. There's a cause and a consequence here. We're not moaning about buying a midfielder because we're greedy. I mean, I think Chelsea are greedy. You don't need Saul Niguez. You've got Kante, Jorginho and Kovacic. You don't need Saul Niguez. You don't need Declan Rice. You don't need Tchouaméni. You're greedy. We need a midfielder. We saw it at the weekend. We need a holding midfielder. We haven't got one, and we won't be in a title race unless we buy one. So if we don't buy a holding midfielder in the next week, we're not in a title race. Simple as that, in my opinion. We are not in a title race if we don't buy a holding midfielder. And yet our club are sat there going, you've got to sell to buy. What sort of mentality bullshit is that? Why are Manchester United saying, we'll buy a midfielder, but you've got to sell to buy? What sort of Stoke City mentality is that? Sell to fucking buy? What? We need a bloody holding midfielder. Sell what? We need a holding midfielder. What am I going to sell to buy? I haven't got a holding midfielder. Give me a bloody holding midfielder. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all soon.